Alright, so here I am coming through the front door. It's a 3-story brick building. It's about 150 years old. Bought it many years ago, and when I used to actually live upstairs. I renovated the second and third floor, turned it into a townhouse. It also has a 2-story half gambrel roof, a wooden structure attached to the side, which I renovated. That's also now rented out. And I use this area down here for storage. And I never really had a chance to work on it, and I've been picking away at it for the last, I guess year or two, and this is what I've been working on in the last week and a half since we've been temporarily shut down. So let me give you a quick tour. It had many owners prior to me. It was a creamery at one time, it was a grocery store, it was an insurance agency. When I bought it, it was all vacant, and I renovated it. So it had a wooden floor, it had rough cut 2x10 construction lumber that went all the way across. So the building is 30 feet across from side to side. Here's a scan of the building. 30 foot from outside to outside. It's got a couple different kind of architectural features to it. The back wall is stone, it's a late stone foundation. The side wall here facing up north is a brick wall that has a plaster coating on it. And there's a brick wall facing south as well. The front wall is all wood, and there's some columns. There's a column here, hard to kind of see that with the sunlight. There's a column right there. There was big windows which I had taken out. There's that column. There's your doorway. You come over here. There's another column. Some more windows which I removed. This is all going to be removed out and rebuilt. And then we're back to that south wall again. So, building is 30 by 30 like I mentioned. It was vacant when I bought it. And had wooden floor. The wooden floor was all rotten out. And so what we did is we came in here, me and a couple guys, and we ripped it all out of here, took it all out of here, and got down to right down to the dirt. So as you can see, they didn't put anything down on here, and this was the dirt right underneath the wood. Never a good recipe to put wood right up against dirt, although it lasted 150 years before it completely went out of the way. So we ripped all that out, and the intention is that we're going to pour some concrete in here. It's going to be about a 4,000 PSI mix. It's going to be 5 inches thick. This area back here was already poured. I got all my stuff stored up here right now. I poured this years ago when I lived here to build a mechanical room. I had a forced hot air gas-fired furnace. This is the return right here. Return system. There's your supply side right there. It goes up, and then it goes to flex boots and ducts all the way through the second and third floor. So when I bought it, there was no restroom in here, no bathroom. So what I've done is, this is the sewer line, main sewer line coming down. We got Schedule 40 PVC pipe, 4-inch. There's a 3-inch line right there coming in from the adjacent apartment. This was all pre-existing when I bought the place. You see it running up through there. I tied in during the renovation, and this is all going to be removed and rerouted once I get the new floor in. So what I did is, because I want to turn this into a little studio down here, is I cut into the line over here. Hard to see that, but right down there on the floor, you see that T with the purple cleaner right on top of it. I cut into the line right there. I tied in a 4-inch to 3-inch T, and I brought that line out from underneath there. It comes under the ground right here. I dug a trench and buried it, and it runs along right through here. The main sanitary drain is going to be right there for the toilet. This will be the line for the sink. This line right here is going to continue on into that area, where there'll be a shower, 4-foot shower unit, and then that pipe right there is your vent line, and it's also going to tie in for the washer and dryer. So that's that. Now, I don't have any supplies over here now. The main supply line runs right here. Here's the main water line coming in from the city. That comes in. There's a pressure reducing valve right there. There's the main shut off. There's the pressure reducing valve. Knocks the pressure down. We're at the bottom of the town here, so by the time the water gets down from the upper part of town to here, there's so much pressure that will blow these lines right apart. So we've got to knock this pressure down to about between 30 and 50 pounds per square inch. Water line comes in here, and we'll tie into that. There will be a wall right here. This will be the inside. That'll stay a mechanical room in there. This will be a wall right here, and then the water line will come out into that wall, come out into here. Now what we got to do is we need to have a kitchen in here. So the kitchen's going to be over in that far corner over there, and you can barely see the pipe sticking up out of the ground right behind my scaffolding buck there. So we have to get a supply line to that. Now I can go overhead easily enough, right? I got some lines there I can tie into. Of course, it has to be separate because it's a separate apartment, so I got to put a separate system in. I don't really want to go overhead because I don't want to see any lines. I have the floor wide open, so might as well bury them in the ground. So what we're going to do is we're going to dig a trench starting in this corner right here. This will be the corner of the bathroom. We'll also tie into all the main water lines right here in this corner, right against this new concrete. And there's going to be a line that runs underground through here. It's going to turn, and it's going to run right over to that area right there. Now I could just bury the pipe right directly in the ground, but that's not the best way to do that. So the better thing to do is to put some conduit down first and run your water lines through the conduit. So I have some 1.25 inch, 1.5 conduit right here. We're going to take that conduit, we're going to bury that in the ground, we can concrete around it, and we can pull the pipe later. We have no chance of breaking our water lines, and our water lines are all protected. I could use a larger pipe and run both my hot and cold through the same singular pipe, but that's not a good idea either, because if we do that, we're going to get influx of temperature between our hot and our cold. So I want to run 2 separate complete lines. Let's take a look at this foundation walls. Interesting foundation walls. So when I bought the place, and not too long ago actually, what the foundation, the rear foundation, which is a stacked stone foundation, looked like that. And it's a scratch coat of mortar, and it was covered with plaster, and I'm sure it looked good in its day, but 150 years you'd probably sag a bit too. So it's a mess. It's falling apart. We've got water infiltration. We don't have a good drain system behind the building, so water's constantly pounding up against this back wall, creating a lot of issues. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that and we're going to clean that up, and I've been doing that over the last week or so, and let me show you what happens, how that turns out. So what we do is we take that wall and you knock some of that stuff off, and it ends up looking like that, where you can see into the stone. There's the stones right there, and you can see the mortar joints. There's some mortar joints right in there, and these haven't been cleaned up yet. These are going to get cleaned up, and I'm going to show you that in a different video, how we clean that up and take care of this and re-tuck point all these stone. But when you're done, what it ends up looking like is that. So that is a finished wall, and now it needs another water coating seal on it, but this is pretty much a finished wall right here. So I have taken out all the mortar and loose debris inside of there, and I've changed that over, and now you can see a new tuck pointed wall, new mortar joints, nice and waterproof, and then we're going to put a waterproof seal on top of that when we're done. Here's the other south wall. It has a step foundation, so it starts in the back, there's the top. It's about 12-foot high ceiling here. Starts in the top, steps down, stone stack foundation, steps down again, steps down again. This was all covered with plaster and looked very similar to that wall right there before I started. We chipped all that off. I chipped all that off there, ground it all down, and got to the brick, and I've been fixing the stone, and I've been fixing the brick and fixing the retuck point. Here's a couple areas where I just had fixed the brick yesterday. Salvaged that brick from the building itself. You're going to see a little color differentiation between the mortar from the old and the new, but it is the original brick to the building. And then there's the, just was finishing this up yesterday. So this will all need to be cleaned, washed, hit with muriatic acid, clean it all up, retuck pointed in some of these other spots that have little cracks and holes like that, which is not that big of a deal, but we're going to do that in a different video. There's a couple other problems I want to talk about. This one's a big one. In the front we have a column, and that column is carrying the whole facade of the building, and it sits on a slate pedestal right there, and then a 1/2 inch steel plate, and then there's a 6-inch round steel, hollow steel column that runs 12 feet up to the top and carries what should be a steel beam, but in our case, since this building was built 150 years ago, they used a train rail. Actually 2 train rails, which is kind of cool because I like railroads anyway. But the problem here is the bottom pedestal has turned in on an angle and started to settle in on itself. Now it's hard to see in this video here, but it's tipping in a considerable amount. In fact, you can see the gap between the column and the pedestal base. So this needs to be fixed. So what my intentions are to do here is we're going to build a temporary support system. There I have some concrete CMU blocks stacked up. We're going to put a temporary jack post here. We're going to jack this up, take the weight off that column, let it carry on the new jack post, remove that pedestal, pour a new concrete pedestal underneath that, and then replumb this thing up. This thing is completely out of plumb, and you can see how it's kicking. And because it kicked in about a good inch, inch and a half, and when it did that, it also had the building sag. So and when we do jack it up, I'm hoping that we might get some of that sag out of the steel rail. So that's it for now. Just a quick little tour. Oh, one other thing. When I came in here and bought this, you don't see this now because of the lumber that we have. I mentioned it's 30 feet across. Up in there, if you can see those joists up in there, those floor joists, those are rough cut 2x10s, and they run as one continuous stick, one piece of material from one side of the building all the way across to the other side of the building, and they're setting in pockets inside the brick and stone walls. There was never any support wall in the middle, and over all the time and all the weight added to this building and the natural effect of weight on the lumber, the building started to sag. So what I did is I came in and I put some columns in here, poured some spread footers. There's a spread footer right there. I built a column in there, built another column over here when I renovated, because I opened up the upstairs and kitchen into one big open area. So I had to put some structural support there to carry that weight. So these columns start in the basement and they run all the way up 12 feet to the floor, through the first floor, all the way up to the second floor, and they're carrying the second floor load so that the basement and the kitchen above can be wide open. Then I had to build a header in there, and there's a header, 2x12 header. It's a quintuple header, and it's carrying all the weight of the floor above and the floor above that, or half the weight anyway. Over here, put up a temporary wall. Had to build a spread footer as well, because there was never a spread footer here, never any support. So I poured a concrete spread footer there. There it is. And after that was done, built a 2x6 temporary support wall to carry some of the weight. And you'd be surprised how much considerable more strength the structure has since I put those walls in several years ago. So this is going to be our finished floor line, incidentally, right here. So our floor is going to come up to that level right there. And we're going to be pouring concrete in here. The size of the building is 30 by 30. We're going 5 inches deep, so you can figure out how much concrete we need to do that. I'll be talking to you in the next couple videos, and I hope you guys stay safe, and hope to see you guys soon. Bye.